Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Little Ray's Nature Center here in Ottawa. We hope you guys had a great time yesterday with Natalie and the marmoset that you guys got to meet. And we thought, you know what, we'd come back in here because Natalie was really having a fun time with these little red-footed tortoises that we have that live with our marmoset. And you can see them over here already, just me coming in. You can see how they come over. This little guy's trying to bite me on the leg. He's thinking, hey, this is a possible meal over here. So let's have a look. We've got some corn over here. These are red-footed tortoises, and these guys are from northern central South America. Have a look at these guys. Tortoises are awesome animals. We don't know the exact age of these four that we have here because these guys were rescued as pets. They're very, very common in the pet trade. And some people look at tortoises and they go, these are really good pets, and other people say they're bad pets. So there's a couple different things here. It comes down to really responsible pet ownership. What is it that I'm looking for in a pet? How much time can I devote to that animal? How long is that animal going to live? How big is it going to get? And can I give it everything that it needs? Now, these red-footed tortoises, they can get up to about average around 12 inches long. That's from the back of the head over here to the base of the carapace at the back there. And but they can get as big as about 16 inches, so it does vary in size, but the average is around about 12. Now, the name red-footed tortoise comes from these bright red dots down the leg and around the head. They can vary from a very pale, almost yellowish color to the more orange and then to the very bright red that you see here. Now, you can see they're all trying to come around and get my corn that I'm holding in. These guys are super interactive. They do love to eat these things. You can see how they kind of go through the corn here. But the interesting thing with these tortoises is that they're not just herbivores, they're actually omnivores. These guys will eat plants like leaves and grasses. They'll also eat fruits and flowers, but they'll also eat things like fungi that grows in the forests. And as well, they will also eat meat. But you'll never see a tortoise running through the forest chasing down an animal like you do a jaguar or a leopard. These guys actually eat carrion. So if something's died and fallen down onto the forest floor, these guys will actually go and eat that carrion as well, which is quite interesting because they do need that protein. So we do give them a bit of protein here. We have a tortoise chow that does have protein in it. Or we have offered them even dead prey items like rodents. Sometimes they'll eat mice. Now, tortoises, these guys have their shell called the carapace on the top, and the lower part is called the plastron. And when they get scared, these guys can hide inside their shell. So they pull their heads and legs inside and they hide away from enemies. When these guys are born, they're about the size of a toonie. They're tiny little guys and they're super, super cute. But you often don't find a lot of the babies because in the forest, they actually go and hide under the leaf litter. And they're a very, very humid area for them. And that helps them with their growth in their shell along with their diet. It also prevents, often in captivity or in human care, you'll see what they call pyramiding. And that's where the shell is either just not humid enough or the diet's slightly incorrect. They kind of work in coalition with each other. But that's what happens with some of these tortoises. But these guys are really characteristic. No matter when you come in here, they just want to eat. And that's what Natalie was having with yesterday. She's got some green and yellow on her shoes. So these guys look at these bright colors and go, oh, that must be a piece of cucumber or something. And they'll come up and try and grab it. Now you can have a look. They don't have any teeth. They've got this hard bony ridge, which is actually their beak. And all tortoises and turtles have that beak-like structure for chewing. You can see the tongue coming out there. And when these guys drink, it's quite interesting. And it's people often point it out when we see that they kind of walk over to their nice deep water bowl. And they stick their whole head in the water bowl. And they actually snort the water up through their nostrils. That's how they kind of take in their moisture.
I actually posted a video of it once.
Natalie did, that's right. She posted a video of one of the redfoots or two of the redfoots drinking. So if you go back on our Facebook page, you might be able to see that there. And tortoises like these guys, this colored plate that you see on the out part of the shell there, it's called the keratin layer. And it's made of keratin. And you'll see rings around their shell. Those are growth rings, but not like a tree. They don't get one a year. They get multiple depending on how much food and the environment they're living in. So they could get 2 or 3 or 4 a year. So you can't actually tell the age of a tortoise by the shell itself. And then sexually dimorphic, these guys are different between males and females, which is quite interesting. Males do get a little bit larger than the females. They also, underneath their shell, on their carapace, on their plastron, the males have a indent. I'm going to see if this guy here is a male actually. So if we put the corn down here, let them go. If I pick this guy up gently and I turn him over like this, look at that. So if you look at it from the side, it's got this massive indent into the plastron over here. And that is, and a much longer tail on these guys. So males have that nice deep indent and a longer tail. Females have a flat plastron there and a much more open vent at the base there, just so they can actually get the eggs through. And that's how we tell the difference between male and females on these guys. In the wild, they just roam around looking for food. When they're babies, they do get eaten by a number of things. They'll get eaten by jaguar. People are a threat to tortoises. Habitat destruction is a big one. But one of these ones is human trade. People are actually taking these animals and they're supporting the pet trade. So they actually go and take large numbers of them, and it becomes an issue. We're all getting sprayed with corn over here. Nellie's been sprayed a few times, and I can feel it going all over my legs as these guys chewing to the kernels there. It's kind of spraying everywhere. They're such awesome little turtles, these guys. And you can see they're not a fast-moving animal, but they are definitely characteristic. They're fun. We come in here and we socialize with them. I was actually petting one the other day. I was kind of rubbing him on the back of his shell, and he was really, really excited by that, and he's kind of flicking himself back and forth, and I have seen a couple of videos out there. So that shows us how sensitive these guys' shells really are. They can feel when you touch on them. So whenever you get a chance to interact with a tortoise, you never want to bang on their shell. You always want to touch them nice and gently, because they can feel through there. So in the wild, you'll often see through these lines, these growth plates, they'll actually have ticks bore through there and take blood from just below that keratin layer. And then the actual underneath section of this is all made of bone. It's their skeletal structure. So this section running down the middle over here is actually his spine. The pieces running down the side are his ribs. But all that is modified to keep all his organs in there, keep them safe and moving around. When these guys are born, they feel kind of like little ravioli. They're kind of soft. So that's because this line around the side of it is very similar to that of a human skull. So when a baby's born, they've got that soft spot. And as they grow, the bone kind of weaves together and hardens. And that's exactly what happens with tortoises. So when they're small, they're soft, and as they get bigger, they harden up. Now, people often ask us, can they regenerate their shell? And to a certain degree, they can. So sometimes if they get hit by a car, depending on the extent of damage that they have, if they will actually be able to regrow or heal that shell over. So it does happen from time to time. So that's why in Ontario we always have to watch for our native species, our turtles crossing over the road. So people often ask us, tortoises and turtles, what's the difference between them? So the biggest one that we often would catch people saying is that turtles live in the water, and they have a flatter shell, more fin-like feet or flipper-like feet that allows them to swim around, whereas tortoises have a much higher dome shell, and they have more rounded feet like an elephant, and that's kind of how you tell them. But really, tortoises are all a type of turtle. So all tortoises are actually turtles, but not all turtles are a type of tortoise. So kind of explain that is like dogs. We have dogs and we have German Shepherds. All German Shepherds are a type of dog, but not all dogs are German Shepherds, right? And that's exactly how we kind of explain it with these guys. Now, these guys can live for quite a long time. They can, in the wild, they can go up to about 40 years. In human care, they range between 50 and 90 years. That all depends on how well they've been looked after. They're given all the nutritional factors that go into it. And so it definitely helps them live longer in human care. So these guys, I just thought, I saw Nelly having a fun time with them yesterday. I thought, you know what? People were asking to have more shots of them, and I thought, why not show these awesome 4 tortoises that we have living together here? They've already gone pretty much through that corn. Nelly made this massive fruit salad and veggie salad for them this morning. They've already gone through that. There was all different types of things in there, from dandelion and collard and watercress, parsley, and there was all different types of fruit in there. So that's what these guys got today.
We just have a question from Lisa. Do most tortoises eat carrion, or is this unique to this species?
There are different species, Lisa, that do eat carrion. It's not only this species. We find that other species will eat it as well. And another very common thing for some animals, especially your African species, like your sulcata tortoises, your leopard tortoise, things like that, they will also eat feces from hyena, because hyena eat a lot of bone, and in their diet they crunch through them, they get that extra calcium in. So when they go to the washroom, their feces or their poop is actually, after a day or so, goes very, very white, and that's because of the high calcium content. And tortoises will actually go and eat that as well, because they're getting that extra calcium in there. But other ones will eat it. But even in these four, not all of them will eat meat. Some of them will and some of them won't. And we can't force them to eat it. We just give them the option that it is there, because it is stuff that they would eat in the wild. So hopefully that answers your question. Awesome, guys. We hope you've enjoyed this segment. It was a fun one, and tortoises always kind of roam around looking for things to do, whether it be food or to find a mate, and that's kind of what tortoises do. They're kind of like having a cow with a shell on them. They walk around, eat, poop, and breed. That's pretty much a tortoise's life, really. But they're such awesome little animals. We love working with them. We get a whole chain. As I always say in all my videos, these are some of my favorite ones. I say it in every one, because all the animals that we work with are favorite, because we just love them so much, and we love to share them with you guys. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this segment. If you guys are out there and you are looking at wanting to help us still, we can go in our donor box. We have a donor box that you can donate through, or we have you can do monthly donations if you want to help us with monthly donations. Or if you just like following us on Facebook or watching our Facebook lives, please do that. It all helps us. Everything's great, drives awareness and everything, and keeps us going, because we love to do these shows and presentations during these hard times. So thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great day. Stay hydrated. It's a bit of a cooler day today, but we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 with some other awesome adventures with some of our animals.